Hello, 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 hello. Howdy, 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 howdy. How's everybody doing? Good, good. Sure. Why not? I can hope, can't I? Alright, let's see. Is it this one? Yay! Woo! Pro streamer, right here. Most of the time. Well, yeah. Ice cube. Yum, yum, yum. Alright. Welcome to Boston! Sorry. Welcome to Boston. There we go. I had to. Hey, Dev! How you doing, man? I'm in your favorite place. Well, one of them. I'm getting closer to LaGuardia. A little bit. Yeah, I bet. Wintertime Boston or summertime Boston? Two different things, I would think. I actually, no, I know so, because I lived in Delaware for a little bit. That was, winters were something. You'd show up to work, not a snowflake on the ground, and at the end of your 10-hour shift, there's almost 2 feet of snow. Was not cool. April Boston's a good Boston. I'll give you that. April Boston's a good Boston. But yeah, so this is, I don't know if this was an airport that I downloaded the scenery for, because I don't think this is stock X-plane. It might be. I don't know. It's not bad. The airport's a little barren today. It's not the most popular destination right now, but it is a nice clear day. Completely calm wind, so I have free reign of the airport here. I believe it. That's a tough call, dude. That is a very tough call. I don't envy that one. But I'm glad you're going to PAX. Yeah. Alright, so. There's my little guy. Right down there. There he is. In all of its Super Cub glory. Let's jump inside, shall we? Oh, that archaic dash. That archaic dash. This is a fun little plane. Very fun little plane. Let's see. Where's my... First off, let's figure out where I am. So there's Boston. Let's zoom in. What I want to know is where's the nearest runway, basically. Because I have a airport map over here I can look at and see where I am at. I am between Concourse A and Concourse B. I'm actually in front of the tower. So it looks like if I do a 180, come down taxiway Alpha 2, down to Echo, and I can take off 4 left. Although, actually, hold on. Do they have the... They do have the runway. There's a runway right here, believe it or not. It is a 2,557-foot runway. And I did some research on it. Apparently they've tried to like lengthen it several times, and the residents said hell no. But they keep it there. I can only imagine GA pilot or GA aircraft landing on 2,500 feet of runway. When you consider that 15 right is 10,000 feet, that's almost 2 miles long. This thing's not even a half mile long. We're gonna go take off on that. So it'll be we'll take, what taxiway is that? That is taxiway November. That'll put us on 15 left. We'll take off that way. Where we're gonna go today, I might break this up a little bit. We're gonna head towards Warwick. If you're Rhode Islandese. So it's a little southwest-ish. Actually no. Warwick's gonna be the waypoint. We're actually gonna go to Montauk. Yeah, we're gonna go to Montauk. So yeah, we'll fly to Warwick, then on to Block Island, and then over to Montauk. That puts us at the very, very, very end of Long Island. Then all I got to do is go all the way down to the other end of Long Island, and Dad, you and I got a stream to do. Yeah, LaGuardia. Alright, that should do it. Okay. So I know where I'm at. I'm in the airplane. Let's fire this baby up. Alright, parking brake is set. Mixture rich. Apparently my avionics are already on. Wait. There we go. Battery. I wonder why my instruments were on there. Yeah, hopefully, dude. Hopefully. Da, 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 da. And then back in. No fuel pump. Here we go. Crank it over. Oh, she fires right up. Do I have my sounds muted? I bet I have my sounds muted. I do. Huh. Ah, that'll do it. Hold on. Let's make the music a little background music. Let's crank that sound up. This thing's got 180 horses in it. Let's hear them. That's a little better. All right, that's we'll get our beacon on, our nav light, our little blinker. Let's while we're on the ground, I am going to tune in the VOR for Warwick. So we take a look here, and that is the Providence VOR. It is 115.6. So we come down here to the nav. 115.6. Oh! Okay. Must be a common VOR frequency out here for some reason. Is there an ATIS at Boston? Actually, I know what the, because I set everything to clear and calm for this one, because actually right now it is if I did real-time weather, Boston is socked in, and there's no way I'd be able to fly this thing because it's a very visual plane. It's a very slow plane, but it has the very basic instrumentation. It does have a VOR, it does have an ADF, and that'll get you through most places, but it obviously has no GPS, or you're not doing any RNAV approaches or GPS approach or any of that stuff. So we go read the altimeter, fly it backwards. Actually, Knight, I got a story about that, believe it or not. 299 or 2, come on. That one, there. Boston's just about at sea level. I would hope I'm a little higher than that. So that checks out, and we're good to go. This is a tail dragger, if you hadn't noticed. Whee! This is a fun little plane. Hence the the extreme rake and the angle at which we are sitting. Okay. Transponder 1 2 0 0. Whoops, 0. I don't have that set up yet because I haven't worked out exactly how I want to do that, because I'm not even sure if it's possible. This is what I want to do. Either A, do it so you can spend your sparks and cause random failures or little annoyances to sort of keep it interesting. The price of them be pretty high because I'm trying to complete a flight here. The second thing that I kind of want to do is because I'm not on a ATC network, like Pilot Edge or VATSIM or anything like that. I don't have a lot of the very high timeouts. Fail the engine. Yeah. No thanks. No, the other thing that I think would be interesting in the interactive realm is, in place of ATC, which should be very variable. For example, when I'm in, let's say I'm in the P180 the Avanti, the twin-engine turboprop, 8-passenger turboprop plane thing. If I file an IFR flight plan, let's say from Boston to, I don't know, Detroit, I would take off from here and I would get vectors to a waypoint as an example, and then from that waypoint, then I fly my flight plan, and then when I get close to the airport, it's radar vectors to final approach fix, and then off you go. I kind of wing that part instead of getting vectors to a waypoint, which is usually like turn left this way, turn right this way, turn right this way, climb here, climb there, now go to your waypoint. I just take off from the end of the runway and go straight to the next waypoint. It makes it easy. But if there's pseudo ATC, it might get a little interesting. So what I might do is I want to see if you can have different panels, not at once, but like sequentially. So like have the takeoff panel, for example, and you'd have different buttons to fly for different altitudes or different headings, just as air traffic control would. And then once I'm transitioned into a direct to a flight plan waypoint, then it brings up the that one, and there might be fewer options there when you get up to cruise, maybe changing altitude for traffic and spacing and whatnot. And then another panel for approach, another panel for final, and that sort of thing. I got some things to look into, but I think that'd be kind of cool. Anyways, that's me thoughts on the subject. Okay. Instrumentation's looking good. How much fuel we got? Plenty of fuel. Plenty of fuel. I do have to pull up FS Economy. So, uno momento while I rent my airplane. Ugh, there's a lot of flights coming out of here. Is there anybody? What's Montauk's identifier? Montauk. MTP. If there's anybody going to MTP, I am going to put them in my plane. MPV, BTV, PLB, SLK, ALB, MT, Teterboro, LaGuardia. I'm not going all the way to LaGuardia right now. ISP, ACK, EPM, RKD, Banger. Oh, wrong way. I came from there. PWM. Nope. Okay. Nobody going. So let's go ahead and fuel up the plane. Oh, 81 gallons. Plenty of fuel. I think we're good. Alright. That's the case. Let's log in. Start it up. Alright. Here we go. Parking brake off. Now I gotta be careful with this plane. I gotta be very careful with this plane. It's a tail dragger. That's part A, so I can't see where I'm going terribly well. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Oh, there's the line. Crap, where'd the line go? The procedure is to waggle effectively, and you sort of check where you're going, left, right, so on and so forth. It's easier when you get on something that's paved, kind of thing. The other thing in the Super Cub is you can grab I'm pointing at the screen as if you can see it. The two black bars there, you can go ahead and grab hold of them and pull yourself up and look around if you're looking to cheat. But this is a Super Cub, so technically you'd be flying from the back, but the Super Cub actually allows you, the pilot, to sit up front. Unlike the olden golden days. And I am keeping the stick all the way back. You want as much pressure on the tail wheel as possible. It is your steering mechanism. I see my taxiway up here, I think. Now here's the tricky bit. I have to tap the brakes because I have a problem. My brakes are set to max brakes all the time. Alright, let me double check where we were. Okay. Oh, straight left. Okay, fair enough. How did you get your rudder pedal through the Yeah. Tink, tink. Yeah. Alright, there's my line. But yeah, this thing's, since the buttons for, I don't have brake pedals because I don't have rudder pedals. I've mapped my left and right brakes, my toe brakes effectively, to two buttons on the joystick hat. See, there goes my line. So I have a left brake and a right brake, so I can use differential braking and use that for steering. But I can either have regular effort or maximum effort. Well, in most cases, in most planes, especially tricycle geared airplanes, that's not a problem. You know, it's just max brakes all the time. The problem in this guy, and I don't want to demonstrate it because I don't feel like restarting, is if you lock the brakes with maximum force, your tail comes up, and you prop strike. Yeah, about that. Oh, I need to go this way. Okay. Yeah, see, I'm banging the tail on the... There we go. Double check. Alright, so around to the left a little bit. It's that way. I could cheat and just do this. There we go. There we go. Do this a little differently. If I had more time, patience, I'd want to learn Blender, because I'd want to make this more akin to the Super Cub that I flew many moons ago. I modified the engine in this one to be more familiar. The stock engine is like, it's a Continental, like 100, 110, maybe 130, maybe 150 horsepower, and that it was just dog slow, and I couldn't do it. So I slapped 180 horsepower in here. I changed the prop to a it's a hybrid cruise climb airfoil. Again, more akin to what we had when I worked for the Banner Tower. The plane had a few modifications. For example, it had droop tips, like inverted winglets that you see now. It also had the wings were box ended and then droop tipped. So the wings extended out, I think maybe one more rib, so you had more wing area. It had a STOL kit installed for slow flight. It had full ailerons. This one does have full ailerons, so that's good. Some of the Cubs didn't have full ailerons. They only had mini, well, not mini, they were still, you know, the remainder of the wing length. There we go. Because you got the flaps, which go right there, and then the aileron here covers up the rest of the wing. What else was done to that aircraft? That was that one. Hot Mama was formerly a float plane, and so it had dual full doors on both sides. That was a fun plane. Alright, coming up to the line. Slow down. Ooh, that was close. Okay. Last quick check. Altimeter, fuel's good. Oil's good. Where's my mouse? Landing light on. Off we go. Oh no, I was behind the line. I was behind the line. Also, it's an uncontrolled field right now. So I just have to do my proper radio calls and whatnot. I'd look left and right, but somehow something has prevented my hat switch to look left and right. I think it's because I installed a new mod that bounces the camera actually very realistically. Alright. Off we go. I'm gonna bring the tail up just a little bit, and she goes off the runway. Whee! Beautiful. Beautiful. Hey, audio. What's up, man? Yeah, that's PG-ish. I mean, it's anatomy. What are you gonna do? All right, I'm heading north, and I don't wanna. Let's have a look around here. There we go. Where's Boston? There's Boston. Fair enough. Fair enough. Climb and maintain flight. Okay, hold on. Actually, there was a guy I was reading about flight characteristics of the Super Cub, and there was a guy that got it up to like 14,000 feet once. I can't imagine he was going very fast, and he was probably out of fuel at that point. Basically, ding, 14,000 feet, and down we go. Come on. There we go. Alright. So there. So oh, that's the from. So we're going to fly. Actually, wow. I got right on course. Sweet. That'll work. Throttle's creeping up as I level off a little bit. I like to keep this thing around about 3 grand, 3,000 feet or so. Just cause. This is a VFR plane. I mean, there's no doubt. You can equip it for IFR flight. There's a lot of Super Cubs that I've seen, you know, decked out to the nines with GPS and 2 nav radios, the full nav stack basically, and this thing will fly any approach that, you know, biz jets could fly. Albeit very, very slowly. Hell, if you get into a congested airport, it's full throttle down to the tarmac, and then you pull back, and this thing slows and floats pretty nice. It's pretty good. But yeah, I gave this thing, I put a 180 horsepower engine in it, but I didn't have the time to modify the bands on the indicated airspeed dial there. So when I level this guy out, he might go up into the yellow and the red. With this prop and with this engine, the red line is more like almost 130, 125, 130, around there. Like, you wouldn't start getting the yellow until about 115 or so. Basically where the red line is right now, so. I'm over some marker. Somebody's ILS. Yep. A little left of course. So we fly down to Warwick, Rhode Island. My roommate in college was from Rhode Island. Used to poke fun at him and his accent, only because he did it too. He was both proud and ashamed, as he put it. Yeah, he went to, he was a roommate in college, and where I went to school was, if you had any interest in aviation, that was like the place to be. And so he shows up, and he has no interest whatsoever with airplanes. None whatsoever. The only reason he was at this school was because they also have a very kick-ass meteorological department. I mean, it's one of the reasons there's a weather service, so hey. Whoa, hello. A little lag. That was odd. Oh, update check. Thank you, Seuss. Appreciate it. Yeah. FPS dropped too. Ugh. Oh well. I'll get back down. But yeah, he wanted to be a meteorologist, a weatherman, and this was one of the best places for it, so off he went. And what's funny is, so he graduated with his meteorological degree, and he went to work for, he actually works for Cape Air. I forget out of which. It's at their base of operation. I can't remember where it is. It's either in Rhode Island or real close there. I forget where he's at. Weather update. But no, he is a flight dispatcher for Cape Air. Hates airplanes. He's a flight dispatcher. He likes it. Kudos, I guess. Can't argue with it. Crazy kid. Absolutely crazy. You know what? This is bugging me. I prefer to read these. I'm flying to the VOR, so I want to track the 2 radial. And so what we do, we turn the dial until the bar is centered, and that's the heading to get on to that radial. So this says I gotta turn this way. Yeah, I can see I'm drifting off that way. This thing has a, as most single-engine props do, a left-turning tendency, the P factor. Yes, I said P factor. You may commence the giggling. Bunch of adults. Yeah, I got to fly one of these from the back seat from Cleveland back to Toledo. After takeoff and prior to landing, I had the controls while the pilot napped. Yeah, it was great. Got to log the time though. Of course, there's no column in your pilot logbook for was the pilot awake. The instructor, was he awake? It was cross country time. There's not much to do. Just follow the line. Anyways, Knight, you popped into the stream and said fly it backwards. I wasn't flying, but I was in a plane that almost did. It's one of the strangest feelings. So we were towing banners for I believe there were some boat races in Cleveland this one particular weekend, and so we flew out there. We're flying in a Cessna 150, and boy howdy, we got out there quick because we had like a 30-knot tailwind the entire way, which didn't bode well for how I was going to have to do the ground crew, because windy days are the worst. Blowing the banners all over the place, picking the billboards up off the ground where they're not supposed to be, unraveling them. Oh, it's a nightmare sometimes. Anyways, so we get over to Cleveland. Not lakefront or anything. It's actually it's called Lost Nation. It's up in Willoughby, which is actually northeast of Cleveland along the coast there. And so we get to the airport, and we're flying our downwind leg, and I mean, we are cooking. We're just so much so that, you know, we pulled the throttle all the way back. The engine was at idle, and we were just rocketing down. What we didn't realize was the wind had effectively funneled the way the lake and the cliff are shaped out by Willoughby. Just scoops the wind right up and just shoots it right down the airport. And it wound up, it was like a 40-knot tailwind. So we, throttles all the way back. We're still above speed to drop any flaps. We can't, there's not a whole lot we can do. So we decided to kind of fly a little extended downwind, and we go down and turn our base, and well, if the wind's going this way and the plane turns like this, you present a very flat surface to high velocity wind, and the plane got pushed. We were still going forward, but we were also going this way, so we were almost going backwards. We actually made it around, and we're lined up with the runway, and we slowed to a crawl. It was insane. It was so freaking windy. So we had to, it was almost full throttle to get back up to some semblance of an approach speed. We decided to have some fun with it, and pull the throttle back a little bit to where we're basically doing like 20 knots. Forward speed, our ground speed was like 20 knots. Our indicated airspeed was like 60 or something, 70. And we come down right above the tarmac. We cross the piano keys, touch down at the start of the numbers, and we were stopped before the end of the numbers. We landed so short at Willoughby, we were able to pull off on the first taxiway, the taxiway that's for the departure end of the runway. When you pull onto the runway to take off, that taxiway. Yeah, that was something else. And yes, the ground crew that day was absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. So yeah, there's your flying backwards story, Knight. Yeah, it kind of is. It actually kind of is. For a Cub, though. But this was a Super Cub. Or this was a 150. Technically, it was a 152 with a climb prop. And a stole kit. Which didn't help. Well, I mean, it did. You know, we could obviously fly a hell of a lot slower than a 152 normally could, which is already pretty slow to begin with, but hey, all good. Oh man, I remember, where was I? Pittsburgh. We were in Allegheny County in Pittsburgh. And we had just finished towing for, oh, it was cold out, so it must have been a Steelers game. And at the end of the day, the when the planes come back from their last banner drop, they'll circle around, land, taxi over to the banner zone, pull off into the grass, park. Um, Most of the time they'd help out. Stupid Steelers. I know. I know. And so we were flying two Cubs and a 150 that day, and so all three planes were pulled over. Um, we had the trailer with avgas, and we had cans of avgas, and then we have an avgas tank. It's a 100-gallon tank with a pump, an electric pump. And so they'd refuel there because for whatever reason, gas was always cheaper at our home airport. If we go to some other airport like Allegheny County, the fuel prices were always jacked up for one reason or another. Well, this particular day, we loaded everything up. We were getting ready to go, and so the planes fired up. The 150 goes, taxis, takes off. The Super Cub taxis, takes off. Brad was in the last one. He was flying Barney. I can't remember the registration on it. But it was purple. It was white and purple, so we called it Barney. If you can imagine this plane is not very big. I mean, you sit in there, and it's basically like your office chair is about how wide it is. It is not a very big cockpit at all. It's from a time when folks were shorter and skinnier. Brad was a lanky fella. He was like 6'4", and like 220. I mean, just thump. And he wasn't as hilarious in the Super Cub as it was in a 150. He'd have his knee. You could see his knees in a profile view of the airplane, but it was close in the Super Cub. But he's sitting in there, and he fires it up, and he goes to taxi up the grass and up onto the runway, with permission, of course, because it is a towered field. And gotta head a little right, getting a little off course. And as he creeps up to the edge, he gives it a little more oomph, a little more that, and at some point he hit the brakes for whatever reason. I think he was trying to wiggle sometimes the tail wheel gets stuck, and so you wiggle it to get it loose. Well, I think he hit the brakes and rotated the plane on its main gear and prop strike. Bam! That is not a sound I ever want to hear again. Never want to hear that again. I mean, it tink tink and then just stopped. That's not good. That is not good. Well, Boss Man was in the other Super Cub, so Brad called him on the radio. He turned around and came back. Not terribly happy, but you know, shit happens. And they towed the plane up to the hangar, the maintenance hangar. Brad hopped in the back seat of the Super Cub, flew home with Boss Man. On the way there, on the flight home, my boss was crazy. He called, I can't remember who he called to order a new prop, because the prop was shot. Um, Before they had left, they had gone through and taken it apart. Thankfully, he didn't bend anything. He just broke the prop, and it stopped long enough to stall the engine, which is why it stopped turning. So on the flight back, he called from the airplane and ordered a new prop to be overnighted to his house, and he was going to fly back with it, replace it, and the two of them would fly back home, which they did the next day. Brad's was the head mechanic at our home airport. Guy knows what he's doing. Good man, good man. Let me look at my section, I'll figure out where I'm at. I might be getting close. In fact, that might be the runway right there. So that'll get me to Warwick anyways. Let's see here. Oh, buddy. There we go. Yeah, that's Warwick. That was quick. So that's our waypoint. And then, so what I'm going to do, I'm trying to fly in. This thing doesn't have an autopilot. That's the other problem with this plane. There is no autopilot. I am the autopilot. But, so if I do KBOS, whoa, Wacky Shack, to MTK? No, MTP? Montauk, there we go. And if I give it a waypoint of Warwick, grr. Yeah, I need an autopilot. Actually, there's a funny PVD. PVD. Okay. There we go. Funny story. Speaking of auto, there's a guy I watch on YouTube that does flight vlogs, flight videos. Actually, there's two of them. There's Flight Creations and there's Lou Dick's Aviation. Both of them from Florida. The one guy's from the UK, the other guy's from Germany. They're in Florida doing flight training. They started their own channels separately, and then one started watching the other started watching the other, and they realized that they were at the same flight school, basically. So they collabed quite a bit on some videos. But anyways, the guy from the UK is Lewis. The guy from Germany is Otto. And so, quite often, there's a comment that Lewis has his autopilot. I don't remember throttling back. Well, if something's wrong, I can land. I'm kind of right down the pipe. Pressure's up, temperature's up. Something's not right. Something is not right. Yep, we're landing. Something's off. EGT is cranked. Something be off. So I'm at like 3/4 throttle. That should not have me in this configuration. But I am a little high. I'm high and slow. Serious face. Very weird. Now for the next fun part, landing a tail dragger. It's not so bad. You control its descent is all you're really doing. And you just sort of stop. Yeah. She ain't home right now. So I don't gotta worry about that. Alright, let's throttle back a lot more. Uh-oh. Oh boy. Oh! Well now. That's interesting. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. That's not good. Come on. Come on, baby. You got this. Come on. Nope. Okay, fine. Just get out of my windscreen. Got the speed. I've got the altitude. I'm gonna no flap this. Don't you block my windscreen, you jerk! I'm adjusting the throttle as if it's going to make a difference right now. Well, this will be my first glider landing. Well, not really. I've done it a couple times. Alright. Well, on the plus side, I can't prop strike. Whoa. Alright, back pressure. Tap the brakes. Yeah. I don't think I can get off the runway there. Parking brake set. Alright, now let's go see what failed on me. I am not quite sure. Oh, fueled with the wrong gas. That's a new one. Well, yeah, obviously my autopilots are disabled. Yeah, no duh. Engines. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you do a pre-flight check. Now, unfortunately, this is exactly why you sump the fuel. This is exactly it. Aviation fuel has color-coded fuel And off the top of my head, I can't remember what the colors were. I know, was it Jet A was blue? No, Avgas is blue. Jet A was clear, I think. Avgas was another. Anyways, they're different colors. And normally the placard that's around your fuel cap tells you which color. And normally the line attendant also should know what fuel that color represents, and therefore put the correct fuel in your plane. But yes, you sump the fuel to see what color it is to make sure it's the color of the fuel for your plane. Sump it, take it. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's all good. Actually, my boss would take some of the avgas and throw it like a gallon or so and throw it in his truck. He said it would clean the catalytic converter because it burns so hot. But, huh. Well, let's clear that. Hey, Arctic. That was really convenient. That was really convenient. Neat. That was cool. Okay. Yeah, look at that mess I left on the runway. Well, I say I remedy the situation. That explains why the EGT peaked. Or the cylinder head temp was quite high. Because avgas would be the lower graded. If they put, I don't know if the logic would allow auto gas, automotive gas. Like it's 87 octane, I believe, 87, 89 octane. Because there are aviation engines that will take auto gas. But that wouldn't be as noticeable as if you put Jet A into a 100 low lead engine. Jet A will burn really, really hot. Alright. So I still have Providence VOR tuned in. Right there. And what we're going to do is fly the 224. 2122. So fly that radial out, and that will take us to Montauk, which is our final destination. So, that being said, double check. Okay, fuel's good, battery's good, fuel's good, circuit breakers are in. Instrumentation now looks a hell of a lot better than it did. Pressure hasn't changed. Which final destination? Hush you. I don't know. Was there a general aviation episode? I don't remember. Check. Looks good. Okay. Let's get out of here. I've had enough of Warwick, Rhode Island. Let's get over onto a center line here. Some semblance of normality. Alright. Off we go. Alright, let's get that tail off the ground. Keep the prop off the ground. Whoop, 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 whoop. And off we go. Oh, that's better. Power! Feel the power! Much, much better. Granted, I'm still trimmed out for level flight, but We'll fix that bridge when we get there. Alright, so the radial's coming in. We're going to intercept it from the left. And then we just fly down it. Now the problem with this is since we're flying away from the VOR, it's going to get less and less accurate as we fly this VOR. The farther you get from it, the signal widens effectively until you finally lose the signal. Alright. Radial's coming in. Bank a little bit to intercept. Off we go. To Montauk. Now let's see, who can guess as to why I chose to land, or will, hopefully, barring any future disruptions, why I'll be landing at Montauk? Any guesses? Curious if anybody will get the reference. I imagine there's several, but I'm only thinking of one. To pick up the groceries. No. Nope, not to pick up the groceries. My plan here is, the overall plan, is I'm flying this thing from where I found it in Nova Scotia. Literally. When I bought it on FS Economy, the, drifting off my line, the airplane was stationed at an airport that doesn't exist anymore. Meaning, in X-Plane, I can't go to that airport. I can't find that airport, so I couldn't position myself at the airport to pick the airplane up, as far as FS Economy was concerned. In FS Economy, what they did is when they started the website, or the service rather, database, they had all of the current airports like locked in. They will not update, they will not change, they will not add new, they will not delete anything. That's to kind of keep the playing field kind of even, I guess. For better or for worse, that's how they chose to do it. And anyway, so yeah, so this airport doesn't exist anymore. It's shut down. It was like a grass strip in the middle of nowhere, literally. So what I did was I found the nearest airport to where the airplane was supposed to have been, hopped in a Super Cub, and because there's a trick, if you're the way FS Economy works is it finds your GPS location, and then it finds the nearest in its database GPS location of a hush audio. Just doing all right. Where was I? Fudge nuggets. No, it looks up in its database the nearest lat long of the airport that you're closest to, and says, okay, this airplane is currently at that airport. So the trick here is if you fly close to where an airport should be, it doesn't, when you start a flight, it doesn't take into account initial parameters. So you could be flying over the airport and hit start flight, and it'll log you in, pick up the airplane, and off you go. Because it really just starts a timer and a position, as far as the software is concerned. And so what I did was I flew out to where the airport should have been and just kept hitting start flight, start flight, start flight. If you're not near an airport, it'll tell you you don't have an airplane rented at whatever the nearest other airport was, until I finally grabbed it at which point I'm in midair and I had to fly some airport that it would recognize. I flew it to the border of Canada and Maine. I can't remember the name of the town. And I've been flying it, basically hopping it down bit by bit. Because it's a tricky plane, not a tricky plane to fly. It's a rather simple plane to fly. But the main thing being it doesn't have an autopilot, so I can't set it and sit back and monitor things. I mean, this is a little more active. So what I'm trying to do is I'm hopping it down to LaGuardia. Because at some point, Davkis and I are going to duke it out. Classic plane versus train race, if you will. LaGuardia is going to be where we do our first one. Our first attempt at this, see how it goes. I don't think there's a lot of Cubs based out of LaGuardia. It's more to the point that we chose LaGuardia because the train sim that he's running has a starting point basically at LaGuardia, roughly, on that line. And we're going to run it up to Connecticut, something in Connecticut. No, don't zoom in. New Haven. And we're going to take it up to New Haven. Whoa, wacky shack. So, simple flight, LaGuardia to New Haven. But the trick is, my plane is twice as fast as his train. So it's very easy for me to start at LaGuardia, take off, and get to New Haven first. So what we've sort of agreed to is I'm going to start at one end. So if we're going from LaGuardia to New Haven, and let's say that's the way we go, then I would be up in New Haven, fly to LaGuardia, then back to New Haven before he can get to New Haven. Being the rules. One of the things that I do have to work out before we do this is I want because with his train simulator, he has folks on board. There's passengers. He has to stop. He has to slow down for different towns. Passengers have to get on. Passengers have to get off. In my flight sim, I have no because it's not a game. It's not imposing anything on me. I can just, you watch me just take off from Boston like it was no big deal. In the real world, the sequencing to get my Super Cub out of Boston would be insane. Not impossible, just nuts. Same thing with LaGuardia. Not as bad with LaGuardia. There's a little bit more GA presence at LaGuardia than like JFK, for example. Yeah, we're gonna go out over the water here for a little bit. But what I want to do is, as he's in the station, I want to simulate walking to the plane kind of thing. I want to simulate doing a pre-flight walk around effectively. I want to do the whole taxi out. I want to do an average time for calling ground, getting clearance, that sort of thing. Taxiing out to the runway. Randomly pick how many airplanes. I am climbing like a banshee here. Oh, no, I still have ground contact, Chief. I still have ground contact. Plenty of ground contact. This is more of a mist. These aren't clouds. Yeah, yeah. It's my story, I'm sticking to it. But I suppose I could lose some altitude pretty quick here. Yeah, it's 500 feet between clouds, but that's hardly a cloud layer. And no, this plane is not an aerobatic plane. It does not have inverted fuel pumps. In fact, it doesn't have fuel pumps. It is completely... It is a cloud layer to the FAA. Yes, yes, yes. Let's get back down. But see, the thing with the FAA... It's who you know. It's all about who you know. Case in point. So that Super Cub I was telling you about, that Brad was in when he had a prop strike. He was flying Barney. Yeah, it's definitely like everything. He was flying Barney, and he was out for a joyride. I think they had been working on it, and so he took it up for a test ride. And so he was flying out by the river, and buzzing pretty low. Well, he caught the attention of some old lady who was watching him, and he decided it'd be pretty funny to go under this. There's an old railroad bridge over the Maumee River in Toledo that is ridiculously high off the water, and I mean you could fit a passenger jet under this thing, and so he thought it'd be cool and highly illegal to woo, and so he did. The lady flipped out because he went down under the edge of the water, or the bank of the water, the cliff there, and disappeared. She thought he crashed, so she called. Wasn't the cop she called? She called somebody else. I can't remember who. But anyways, eventually the FAA representative of for the area, at the FISDO, figured out who it was. Mostly because, well, he knows, he's friends with Brad. Let's just put it that way. And when he heard the stunt, he sort of guessed who it was, and so he paid Brad a visit, and basically got the classic "don't do that again." But how was it? Yeah. Alright, so we're coming over the water. There's an airport. Let's see. Hold on. My chart, I'm over here looking at LaGuardia. Okay. So we're coming over Block Island Sound. That over to my left should be Block Island. Yeah, that is Block Island. Looking at my VFR chart. And this group of islands that I'm turning towards should have Montauk on it. On the end there. Well, nobody's guessed why I'm flying to Montauk. I picked it. Has anybody seen Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind? It's a great movie. Really, really good movie. Montauk plays a part. A bit part, but a part. in the movie. I should watch it again. It's been a while since I've seen that. And this airport does not have navigational aids. It does have weather. But this is the Northeast. There's a ton of VORs all around, but there's nothing, excuse me, going right into Montauk. That I can see anyways. So what we'll do is we'll just hold this. It's coming into the water. There is not a whole lot of islands. I mean, there's a lot of islands, but there's not a lot of options. Now, if X-Plane decided to give me the wrong fuel again, I'd be a little damp. This is not a float plane. And these planes are not fun to ditch, because they will cartwheel the big old landing gear out front. Climbing again. There we go. Yeah, we'll hit the end of the island here, and we'll just scoot on down it. I mean, that'll be my path for the next leg at some point. Although I might park it here. Actually, no. I'd probably go a little closer, maybe to MacArthur, Long Island, MacArthur Airport there. Roughly halfway between LaGuardia and New Haven. So I have a good spot to get close to those clouds. I can hit either airport depending on how we decide to do this race. But yeah, I chose this airplane for the race because it's a slower aircraft. I had actually picked up in X-Plane. There's an L-18, I think it's an L-18 Grasshopper, and it's actually pretty quick. It's got a beefy engine. I thought it had a weaker engine. This engine, I don't think is. I think that's got like a 210 in it. 210 horsepower engine in it. This is 180 that I've stuck in here just to make it more the way I remember flying a Super Cub, which is not how most people have flown a Super Cub, mind you. Hell, a lot of the older generation got their cut their teeth on the J3 Cub with little 60 horsepower engine, 50 horsepower engine. You want to talk about slow. But at the time, I mean, that was blazing fast. Oh. Thank you, Beam. Disconnected, reconnected. Yay! Appreciate that. Appreciate the heads up. I was watching Sorcerer Dave, who's a UK streamer on Twitch. He does several different flight sims. He'll do P3D, I think. He'll do FSX. He'll do X-Plane. And he'll do the one, I can't remember the name of it. The one combat, the really nice combat sim. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. He'll run those. His YouTube channel's got a lot of like Morrowind on it. It is hilarious Let's Play of Morrowind. Anyway, I was watching his last X-Plane stream because some reason he was up at 3 o'clock in the morning, which is perfect for me to watch because it was like 8 o'clock at night or something like that. Anyway, he had just bought a new weather package for X-Plane. It's rather pricey. It's like $70, called X Enviro. But it updates. I mean, you can see the X-Plane clouds, little cotton puffs. They're very meh. I do have a piece of software here. Real Terra Haze, which puffs up the clouds so they're a little thicker, a little more believable. But trying to fly something down to minimums is not the greatest in this thing. Supposedly X-Plane 11's gotten better, but it's still not that good, I guess. But the X Enviro gets fog and low visibility, as I saw in Source for Dave's stream. Really, really good. To the point I went out and looked to see, you know, A, how much it was, and B, if it was Linux supported. Most of the stuff in 4X-Plane, there's the airport, is supported in Linux, mostly. Unless you write the plugin and use some very special libraries. And unfortunately, this one is Windows only. There isn't even a Mac version, which is very annoying. Very, very annoying. Which, if I had the motivation, I'd write my own, dang it. Blackjack and hookers. I have my own weather plugin. That is Montauk. There is the Half Moon Bay shape. That is it. So we gotta lose some altitude here. Think I can do a straight in from here? I should be able to do a straight in. There we go. Get to dropping. Oop. There we go. See what 1,000 feet per minute will do. Wasn't too bad of a flight, even with a little hiccup. Well, worst come to worst, can always just make this a downwind. It's coming down. I might be able to make it. Down a little quicker. There's 1,500. 2,000 feet. Nice long, slow right turn. A little bit of rudder. Man, it's touchy rudder. Touchy rudder. I mean, it has a very touchy rudder. Lot of authority. Lot of authority! Woggle, woggle, woggle. There we go. Coming over the beach. Storming the beach! Alright, let's line her up. Oop, little more. A little more. Easy, fella. A little more. Nice calm day out here. These things are not the funnest to fly in turbulent weather. Doable, by all means doable. Not the most comfortable. There's not a lot of room to move. So you're hitting sides of the airplane, sometimes the top. Alright, a little low. Let's give it some gas. Level off. Notch of flaps. $50 knots. Ooh, this runway's got a curve to it, or a hump. Hello, trees, you're getting awfully close there. And yes, I intentionally skirted them. Call me a pansy. I can fly right through them. I'm not going to hit them, but... Come on. That might have been a 3-point. I'd have to look at that one. That might have been a 3-point. Be super happy if it was. Not terribly bummed if it wasn't. That was actually a pretty decent landing. I'll take that. Any taxiways at Montauk? I saw the grass runway there, but I'd rather not. Any taxiway at all. Anything. Anybody there. I just landed, Dav. You betcha. You betcha. I'm in Montauk. I'm going to pull this thing over. I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to log my flight. And then I'm going to do a replay because I want to see if that was a step away, missed the whole flight. Sorry, Dav. Sorry, Dav. Alright. Tap the brake. There we go. Alright. Kill the engine. Plonk. Log my flight. Hour 10. That's not bad. Even with engine failure. Hour 10. Not bad. Not bad. Alright. To do replay mode, the engine's got to be running, so let's turn her back on. There we go. Let's hold it right there. Yeah, engine failure. So, remember I was talking about setting Warwick, Rhode Island as a waypoint? I was going to hit that VOR and then turn a little bit more to the west in order to go to Montauk. I'm literally at like 3,000 feet on the glide path to Warwick, and I look down. I'm looking at my engine RPM right here, and I saw that it was probably around 15, and I had it set for like 2200 RPM, and I'm like, that's not right. My airspeed was like 80. I looked at my throttle. My throttle's at like 75%. It's cruise setting. Um, EGT was cranked. Cylinder head temp was up. Um, Gas was fine. I had plenty of gas, so it wasn't that. And my engine just degraded to the point where it just shut down and wouldn't start up. Uh, but the way that I was lined up was I was on the glide slope. It was dead in front of me. There was no turning. It was just engine shut off and bring her on down. Landed, fired, or figured out what the problem was. One of the neat features about X-Plane is random failures. And they are pretty random. I just glided right on in. The prop's just sitting there going like this. And no, yeah. So X-Plane has the random failures, and this failure happened to be the wrong fuel had been pumped into my airplane, which is an actual thing. Even though it's color coded, the line guys can still screw it up. That's why you sump the gas. That's why you look into the tank. That's why you smell it, taste it, whatever you got to do to make sure that the fuel that has been loaded onto your plane is the correct fuel for your engine. I'm guessing that what was loaded was Jet A because of the high temperatures that was generating. Auto gas would just cause the engine to run rough. It might get warm, but you wouldn't see the catastrophic failure that you do with like Jet A. But yeah, engine failure. It was good. It was good. All right, replay mode. Let's hop out of the airplane. All right, you should swing around. I sat there for a minute, so. Come on, buddy. Come on, me. This is me explaining what I just explained. You should back up any second now. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Okay, plane shut down. There we go. Wee! Because I want to see if it's a 3-point landing, basically. Not that one. There we go. Ooh, it's close. It's close. Okay. Let's see. Now, a good landing in a tail dragger is when all three wheels touch down. It's called a 3-point landing. Flared a little early. And... oh! Ooh! Ooh! The shadows kind of throw it off, but... because, I mean, look, it looks like I'm off the ground. I'm not actually off the ground. That was a 3-point landing. Holy crap. Think. Yep. Tail couldn't go down anywhere. That is. Yep. Woo! Alright, where's my tail wheel endorsement? That was cool. That was cool. Fun little plane. I like these things. Oh, there's even a guy in there. But yeah, I mean that's exactly how much room you got. That's pretty accurate right there. That's how much room you got in these things. This thing seats 2, but FS Economy says it'll seat 3, and I think that's just hilarious. But I think it's also because they don't have too many planes that only seat one other person. But what are you gonna do? Okay, I think that's gonna call it. I'm gonna call it here. I haven't even had dinner yet. I'm gonna go grab something to eat. I'm a little peckish. So I do thank you guys for coming out. I do appreciate it. I say it every time, but man, I wish I could do this a little bit more. Um, it's not often I can. It's not often Tara's not in the house, so I can actually do this um, without bothering her or what have you. So, but we shall see. I want to do this more, and Dav, yes, we gotta get on this at some point here, sometime, whenever we can. We keep talking about it, and I can't wait. I can't wait. It's gonna be so much fun. It's gonna be so much fun. Yeah, it'll be good. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna call it here. Thank you guys for swinging by, stopping by. That was a good stream. That was a good stream. Still in your reset of your route? Yeah. Yeah, I gotta get this thing. I mean, I'm close. I am now on Long Island. I'm at the very far end of Long Island, but I am on Long Island now. I'm actually. So New Haven would be like halfway between us, or halfway between me and LaGuardia at this point. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna park the plane at like what are you? MacArthur. Pretty sure I'm still set up to go out from New York. Need to reset to go CT to New York. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna so I'll fly from LaGuardia to New Haven and back before you can get there, right? I think that's how we're gonna do that. Something like that. It's gonna be fun, regardless. Wow, yeah, everything is socked in. Total IFR, Teterboro, all of them socked in. Glad I didn't put real world weather, because that would have sucked in a Super Cub. Not impossible. Not impossible. Just a little sweaty. Yeah, so. Anyways, okay. That's it. Cutting it right here. Once again, thank you guys for coming out. Dav, Knight, Audio, all you guys. Appreciate it. Until next time, if I can find my OBS, it's around here somewhere. I do too. That would be so cool. That would be so cool, Dav. Anyways, alright. Take it easy, guys. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.